days.
What's up, brother? What's going on? I hear you, man. I hear you. All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm supposed to be up on the platform because I told him that. It's good to see you all. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for staying. Thank you for joining by live stream. This is an important conversation. I'm so excited that so many of you are here. I want to invite you to catch the stream. I don't know, what do we stream? What are we on? Where are we? YouTube, all the outlets. So you can direct people to the church website, newbetheldc.org. You can go to the Facebook page, and you can also go to the YouTube page. All right. And I want you to share this link with all your folks because, for one thing, they'll be able to participate today, but they will also be able to catch the archive and register and do all the things that we're going to be talking about. I want to just kind of give just a quick overview, real quick, about why we're doing this. How many of y'all in college? Raise your hand. A lot of y'all. How many of y'all are not in college? Maybe that's a better question to ask. Okay, a few of us that are not as well. Great. When I was in college, I went to Mount St. Mary's College, about an hour and 30 minutes, hour 15 minutes away from here. And when elections came up, there were a few of them I know that I did not vote. And I was an hour away. The stakes for what it is that is happening in our country are greater now than even they were then. And I believe that this coming election is the Gen Z coming out party. I believe that you all are going to make the difference in the outcome of this election. And so it's important that we use the gift that we have of being able to vote in this system and time and space that God has put us in. This is how it is that we do it. So I'm not trying to argue whether it's good or bad or right or wrong. I'm just accepting it for what it is and applying the principle of the fact that every single one of you are made in the image of God. And so then to treat you otherwise is godless. And that is the reason why we want to make a special effort to push forward from the standpoint of our kingdom identity. It's not just a social matter. It's not just a matter of the public square. I believe it's a theological proposition. And we need to utilize this gift and this responsibility. When God gives you gifts, he ain't giving it to them just for you. They can bless you, but they can be amplified to bless other people as well. Does that make sense to y'all? So that's what this is all about. We have an amazing team that has helped to bring this all together. And I'm gonna just introduce one of them, and I'm gonna let him kind of move us into the conversation. He is the director of our young adult ministries. He leads our young adult ministries along with the team. He is an incredibly charismatic preacher, mental health professional, and I'm just excited that he's here and that this entire team has sort of joined together. So y'all put your hands together. Help me welcome to the platform Reverend Nick Young.
Thank you, Pastor. How y'all doing? Happy Sunday to y'all. Were y'all in church? Everybody in here in church on this Sunday? Were y'all? Raise your hand if you were in church. Was that not an awesome word from the Lord? Yeah. God really moved. I was coming from Virginia. I walked in at the end, but I was listening on my way, and God was truly moving in the space. Who remembers when Pastor was standing up here like this? Y'all remember? When I was looking at him, I was like, oh, he's standing on business. Amen. He had a standing on business way of thinking about waging war in the spirit. Angela Davis has this saying that she says, I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept. We have ways that we can do that. We can do that by prayer. We can do that by coming to the church. We can do that by coming by fasting. But another way we can do that is by voting. And so that's another way you can stand on business and say, I cannot accept the ways in which you talk about my people, you treat certain people. I'm not accepting these things. You can get out and vote. So thank God for the opportunity to vote. Amen. Can we give a round of applause that we can express ourselves in voting? I am a member of a team. Sister Porsche, if you can she stand up? Sister Shabiki. These people work tirelessly to put this together. They literally met all the time, Pastor, Reverend, everybody. We were just really dedicated to having this event come in, and so I'm super grateful. So I have the privilege of welcoming somebody in this space who is no stranger to New Bethel, but she is truly a gem and a gift from God. In Ecclesiastes, the Old Testament writer says, "For everything there is a season, time to be born, time to die, time to plant, time to pluck up that which has been planted, time to build, time to break down what's been built up." There's also a time for great people to be born. And this person who's going to come up, she is our subject matter expert in terms of elections. Her name is, we can give her a round of applause. Her name is Jordan Braithwaite. She is from St. Louis. Was anybody from St. Louis in here? Missouri? Yeah, my girl Layla. She's from St. Louis, Missouri. She is a 4.0 graduate of Grambling State University. 4.0. 4.0. She is also a former HBCU White House intern. She has worked for the Congressional Black Caucus. She was the president of her campus's NAACP chapter. She is a woman of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Great day for you all in political history, amen. Making headways for Howard students, amen. Making headways. And so she is also the Marshall Motley Civil Rights Defense Scholar. And that means she is going to Howard University School of Law, full expenses covered. What? So that she can practice law for our people. That is a great thing. She'll be serving for 8 years. And she said, that's what I wanted to do my whole life. And so we are grateful for her. I want to bring Jordan up to the stage. If you could come on up. And we also have raffles. Did y'all hear about the raffle? Did y'all hear about the raffle? Yeah, y'all know about the raffle. So we're going to draw the first raffle first. So get out your ticket, okay? Yeah, I said we was going to do that, and we're going to do it in between sessions, okay? All right, y'all ready? Y'all ready? 4-5, 8-7, 1-2. Who that is? Hey! If you want to help spend your gift card with somebody, I'm always down for that. All right, Jordan.
Thank you so much. And can we get a round of applause to the turnout that's here today? This is beautiful. Amen. Well, first off, happy Sunday, everyone. Again, just thank you all for taking the extra time just to be here, not only for the raffle, but just to learn more about voting in such a crucial and historic election that's happening to us all. And before I begin, can I see the hands again? Who's all currently in college? We love to see it. I'm a recent graduate. I recently just graduated in May, and so I fully understand. I love helping people get registered to vote, especially college students, because like it was said, this election is on us, and that's the biggest message that I want to clear today, is that there are statistically 4 million eligible youth, specifically Gen Z, that are eligible for this upcoming election. That means that all of the representation, majority if not all of the representation for this election and how the elections that are happening this year fall back on us. And so it's a very crucial and important time. And so I'm just happy to be here today to talk about the process of voting, how to register to vote, how to check if you already are registered to vote to make sure that you are good so that we can be all set and locked and loaded for November's election. And so I just want to also disclaim that this is fully nonpartisan. I'm using this as a space and opportunity just to teach you all just how to vote if you already aren't aware, and not specifically who to vote for, because the message is that it's all about voting, because to vote is a right and a privilege. And also, before I start, I would like to say a quote by the powerful and iconic Dr. Huey P. Newton. And it goes, "Black power is giving power to the people who have not had the power to determine their destiny." When I see black power, I look at voting. I automatically think about voting. It was something that we didn't have not too long ago. And now that we have the ability to be able to do something that is so fundamental to our democracy, which is voting, it is something that I love to encourage you to just, if they aren't already aware about voting, encourage those next to them, their friends. And so I know that with the election and everything that's gone on with the candidates, it's made voting more of a trending topic. And I love that in this year. That's how voting should always be looked at, because again, we did not once have this privilege. And so before talking about how to check your voter registration status and all of the other essentials that go into registering to vote and being a part of civic engagement, I really want to start with the approach of just making it a clean slate for those who probably weren't or haven't received any education or any background on what voting is or what that looks like. Because I do understand in the society that we live in today, education on voting isn't really always granted to us as feasible as other things may be. Like we have social media, we have TikTok, Instagram, all of that good stuff, and we're able to see all the trending topics. But when it comes down specifically to voting, we find it a little bit more challenging to get the information that we need that can benefit us in the end. So essentially what voting is, it's an opportunity for all of us to express our opinions and have a say-so and a seat at the table in this country's democracy. It gives us the opportunity to make sure that there are people that represent our ideals, what we want to see, and what benefits us in the best of our abilities and our community, and not only presently, but in the future. It allows us to just have a say-so in making sure that we get exactly what we deserve at all times, and making sure that we are always at all times able to hold these people that we put into office accountable, and making sure that they do exactly what we need so that we can continue to thrive and we can continue to move forward into getting freedom and equality, because that's Americans' dream, or that's our dream specifically, is to receive the full blessings that this country has to offer us. And right now, we're seeing our democracy at stake. There's a lot of things that are going on. I'll just, again, nonpartisan, but a lot of terms that are being tossed out that we're seeing that could affect our daily livelihoods, that could affect our future, our education, our brothers, sisters, parents, those to come before us or to come after us. There's a lot of things at stake. And so this election is not only crucial, but it is important. And we're going to need everyone's seat at the table and everyone to be reminded in knowing that we have a say-so, we do have a voice, and to debunk everything that everyone's trying to say of things like my vote doesn't matter or it doesn't make any change. And so so I want to talk about that a little bit as well. A lot of people may say that your vote doesn't matter because they're talking about the presidential election specifically, or they'll say something like, oh, there's an electoral college, so that means that the popular vote doesn't really dictate who gets elected as the president, and it's morally based on the electoral college, and they have the decision. But the quickest way to debunk that is that a lot of the popular vote influences what the electoral college ends up voting for the presidential election. And so because of that, it's a reminder to all of us to know that the popular vote does have a meaning. And sorry, let me backtrack. The popular vote is basically when everyone goes out and votes in their respective district, and after they go and vote in those respective districts, it's usually based off of who won, which candidate won that vote. And so a popular vote when it comes to a presidential election can oftentimes be looked at as a way the people that naysayers, when they try to say that your vote doesn't matter, they're often talking about the popular vote. But the popular vote has great influence on what dictates and actually happens on who gets elected, or who the electoral college decides what party, but candidate that they'll choose in an election. A lot of other people will just say, a lot of people oftentimes will say that our votes don't matter, are people that solely don't look like us. A lot of people that are choosing to say that our votes mean nothing is because they're trying to find ways to constantly try and push us back or make sure that we stay complacent, making sure that we stay focused on what's happening in social media, making sure that we're focused on more so like celebrity stuff, like who's all aware of like the social media account like the Shade Room, or Yeah, I'm like, y'all, you don't have to lie. You don't have to lie. It is fully okay. But they want to prioritize outlets like that, focusing on what's happening on mainstream and not focusing on the information, the important dates to get registered to vote, or the important deadlines to make sure if you're voting out of state, how you can request an absentee ballot. And I'll be talking about that as well if anybody has questions about that. But all of these streams are trying to push out a message saying that it does not matter and that nothing will change, are trying to do that because they know how powerful our vote is. They know that if we all come together, especially with how many people are eligible to vote in this year, they know that if we come together and we take back our power and we do something as simple but as so powerful as voting, that we will make a humongous difference, our generation specifically. So my message for that before I move forward is that always just remember to block out the naysayers. Anytime someone tries to say that your vote doesn't matter, always remain confident in knowing that it does, and that they wouldn't be saying that for no reason. They're saying that because they want to keep you complacent. They want you to sit out on these elections so that people above us can continue to try and control or think that they can control us and control what happens to us in our own communities. And this goes for all elections, local elections, state elections, and national elections. Specifically for local elections, that's where we see the most change happen, because if we choose to sit out on a local election, we're choosing to sit out on if we want to see a difference in our own backyards or in our own communities. We're allowing someone else to have a say-so with that. So just always remember, by choosing not to vote, you're allowing someone else to take that right from you. So moving on, now that I've gotten that message out of the way, I do want to talk about, before going into...
Like 2 more minutes.
Okay. So moving on from that, I do want to move forward into how voting looks like, or how you can be civically engaged. So if the slideshow with the QR codes, there's going to be a slideshow that will show a QR code. I want this to have this opportunity now to allow people to, if you haven't, check your voter registration status, if you would like to get registered to vote, and also see other essential information pertaining to how to get registered to vote. Usually with checking your voter registration status, actually in the laws currently, there's a lot of voter purging that has been going on. Essentially what voter purging is when lawmakers, or when people that pass legislation, decide that they take it upon themselves to, after a law has been enacted, to go in and purge voters who were registered to vote out of the system, depending on how that law is. So you'll see these 3 codes up here now. You can take the opportunity to scan them. I made that message because you always want to make sure that you are registered to vote. I've had many cases where I've been helping people get registered to vote where they thought they were registered and they actually went and scanned it and turned out that they weren't. It takes less than 2 minutes, the same way that you would put information in to register an account or to set something up, or just like to put your payment information in if you're doing online shopping. It's the same way you could just put your quick information in just to make sure you're registered to vote.
Right. Thank Nick with some goodie time. I just want to ask y'all, while you're doing this, to also pull out your raffles. And we're going to draw another raffle right now. Somebody else is going to be a winner. Somebody else is going to be a winner. Can we give a round of applause for this? Yeah. All right. 2644401. My man, congratulations. God bless you. Cool. Does anybody else need the QR code up again? Yeah, can we put that back up?
And in the last segment, I'll be taking questions too, like if you guys have any specific questions or anything of that, or if you have questions right now while you're filling out the forms, just raise your hand and I'll be happy to assist you. Oh, a question.
Hi, so I'm from Texas, and I am running about the absentee vote.
Yes.
How do I do that?
I was going to say, yes, there's a slide for that, and I'm about to break down the absentee ballot, but you're on the right track. Thank you, Miss Girl.
Ma'am? Okay.
Oh, you're good. He has a question.
Somebody else?
Yes, he's right.
I just have kind of heard things about absentee ballots not being reliable. Could you just touch on that, or if you have any knowledge about that?
Yeah. So if we're good, if everyone's good so far, did everyone have a chance with the QR codes to scan? If we're good with that so far, I can go on to talking about the absentee ballots for all.
Everybody solid on the QR code? Amen? Cool.
Perfect. So absentee ballots, essentially, just for those who may not know, is basically a way that if you're not able to vote in person, or if you're a college student and you would like to go vote back at home, it's an opportunity so that you're able to go vote and back at your local state or your local home, and you'll do it by requesting an absentee ballot by mail. So for specifically answering the question about how the absentee ballot is, they may not be as reliable. That question comes because of the election, or not the election, the deadlines that come with the absentee ballots. So essentially, because there's always deadlines that come into play, you'll have, and it usually varies with this QR code, you'll be able to see how to request an absentee ballot. That's up, but usually you'll have to check the website for your Board of Elections, or with the QR code as well, you'll be able to see the deadlines, and usually it can become unreliable because there's certain deadlines. So typically they say that you have to request an absentee ballot by mail, and mailing it off before that deadline. And then after that deadline, they'll try and say, okay, you can't request an absentee ballot anymore. And then once you request it, if you meet the deadline of requesting the ballot before the deadline, then they'll mail back to you your ballot, and then you have only, I believe, 10 days after the actual election day. They usually prioritize mailing back your actual ballot prior to the election day, but they only give you 10 days afterwards. So it's a lot of people that may or say that it's not as reliable, because it's you really have to make sure you're emphasizing meeting the deadlines. But if you have the accessibility of this QR code that was made, it gives you the opportunity to advance, be okay, I know that I want to vote back in Louisiana, or in my example, I would like to vote back in my home state of Louisiana. So I'm going to make sure that I can use this QR code, find my specific state, and see what the deadline is for me to request a ballot, and make sure that I request it prior to that deadline, making sure it's mailed off and it's good. After that, once they send me back my actual ballot closer to the election day, I'll make sure that as soon as I get that in the mail, I fill out my ballot, and then afterwards I mail that back before the 10th day after the actual election day, which is November 5th. I want everybody to remember one important day, and that is November 5th. November 5th is the election day, and that will be that falls on universal, whether you're voting in person or if you're doing the absentee ballot. That is the election day, and so you just want to make sure you remember these important dates. But specifically for an absentee ballot, it is a very effective way if you're not able to make it in person, and it still gives you the opportunity to make sure that your vote is still counted for, and making sure that you still have a seat at the table, even at your home state. And it's actually very beneficial in this upcoming election as well, because there are things that are considered swing states. And swing states are technically known as states where there's not a majority political party specifically in that state. And so it gives you a greater opportunity if you know that you live in a swing state like Georgia, for example, that always kind of, any Georgia residents or anyone? Okay, we love to see it. But states like that in Georgia that kind of swing back and forth and don't have a specified political party, it gives you the opportunity to still make sure that your voice is heard, and it could actually be more influential at your home state. But if you choose to vote here in DC, you still have that opportunity. So you get the chance of saying, I can either vote back home or I could vote here. But as long as you know that you still have a say-so in either way. Mm-hmm.
Hello, my name is Malia Bell. My question was, so you're talking about the significance of can you speak more to the significance of swing states? Because it, of course, would be more convenient for me to just vote here, but I'm from North Carolina, and I don't know if that's a swing state or not. Yeah, okay. So, I just wanted to, know more about the significance and of the, sitting in the absentee ballot rather than just voting here.
Yes. So like the crowd kind of answered, your state, it would be considered a swing state. And it's a lot more influential to have your voice said so in a state like that, because when it goes specifically to swing states, that swing states essentially means they don't have a specific political party. So you can't declare that state saying that they're Democrat, or you can't declare that state being as Republican. So it gives you an opportunity to make sure that you don't know what could happen in that election, but you know that you have a greater chance of influencing the outcome of what that swing state may decide in reference to a political party specifically. So it gives you more of a say-so in knowing that my vote could or will influence the decision that comes out of that state when it relates to specifically the political party, if that helps.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
No problem. Mm-hmm.
And hello, everyone. My name is Brooklyn, and kind of a follow-up to that question is I'm already registered to vote back home in Colorado. So I was wondering, can you change where your registration place?
Yes. So that was the first thing I did when I was a freshman in undergrad. So I said I was from Louisiana. I claim Louisiana at this point, but I'm really from Missouri, St. Louis. And so my freshman year, when it was the 2020 election happening, I knew that I wanted to vote in Louisiana because I was like, my vote will have more of a say in Louisiana because it's a swing state in the South, especially during that time. And so I switched my voter registration status, but the way that we had to do it at undergrad, or in my undergrad, was that I had to use my undergrad's address. So I had to use the mailing address that I would receive and my packages and everything, but they still will accept that. So it was a P.O. box, but the Board of Elections in Louisiana, when I submitted it, they were able to allow me to switch to Louisiana. And then the same way that after I left Louisiana and graduated and moved here, I switched my voting address to here and made sure that I did that before I got here so that I wouldn't run into any issues. But you're still able to switch back and forth in that way. But that's why it's just always important to check your voter registration status to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information of knowing where you're registered to vote at and if you're registered to vote, so that you don't come into any issues on election day. And that's why I always say the sooner the better, so you don't run into any issues.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just 1 second. We're going to play a video really quickly for you all from somebody who's invested in politics, somebody who's in our age demographic, and we're going to play that really quickly, and then after that, we're going to do a raffle, and then we'll get back to regularly scheduled program.
Greetings. My name is Mayor Jalen Smith, the mayor of the city of Earl, Arkansas, the youngest African-American mayor in the United States of America across the globe. I was elected at the age of 18 into office, and now I am 20 years old, and November 5th is election day across the country. And it's very important that you young people get out and vote. I will be at the polls voting for my first presidential election. I'm very excited to be voting because voting is our power to show people that we are able to vote. Our democracy is under attack, and we want to make sure that we are capitalizing to really fight for our freedom. A wise man once said, the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but in times of challenge and controversy. And I want you to remember that. Get out and vote. Please get out and vote. It's very important that you vote. When I ran for mayor, I had the opportunity to vote for myself. I was very excited to do that. Again, thank you so much for this opportunity. I encourage everyone to vote.
Hey, man, the youngest mayor. Youngest African-American mayor, literally.
This is his first vote.
Wow. All right, cool. So we got another raffle. Y'all got your raffle tickets out? Y'all ready? Somebody ready to make some money?
Are you praying?
$100. $100. All right, so we got 4, 5, 8, 7, 8, 4. Who got it? Who got it? You got it? Stop playing. All right, 4, 5, 8, 7, 8, 4. I think that's mine, Pastor. That's mine. All right, one more. 4, 5, 8, 7, 1, 7. Hey.
What they said, pass the plate, pass. Are we the next video? Okay, sounds good. And I'm sorry, y'all. I usually like to start whenever I do like a voter educational event. I like to start with a little chant. Y'all want to do a chant real fast together? So when I say freedom, y'all say fighters, because y'all are registering to vote. Y'all are here. Y'all are the next generation freedom fighters. So again, when I say freedom, you say fighters. Y'all ready? When I say freedom, you say fighter. Freedom. Fighter. Freedom. Fighter. When I say freedom, you say fighter. Freedom. Fighter. Freedom. Fighter. Man, let's clap it up. Oh, yes, question.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So similar situation, I think someone up there, they were saying that they are registered in another state.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, so I don't know, I'm not sure where I'm registered, but I did vote in the last election here in DC.
Mm-hmm.
I want to vote back home in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a requirement when it comes to if you voted already? I don't know if there's like a deadline or anything to get re-registered for another state?
Like a voter registration deadline?
Yes.
Yeah, so it would be, well, specifically, you would look, you said Arkansas?
Mm-hmm.
So you would look up on the the QR code that was the first slide where it showed the 3, you would go under, well, first you would go under check your voter registration status to make sure that it confirms that you are registered to vote, at least here. And then afterwards, you would move on to the register to vote QR code. And then I believe on that QR code, it'll go like state by state so that you're able to see the important dates on there as well. And then it'll give you, so you'll go down and look for Arkansas specifically. And then once it shows you Arkansas, it'll show you the voter registration deadline. And usually, like, you could do, like, for requesting an absentee ballot, you would go to the absentee ballot, request for absentee ballot QR code to see when the deadline for Arkansas is in that way. Because you would be doing an absentee ballot in Arkansas, so you would want to make sure that you have that deadline. And I can actually, well, after this, I can help, like, look up the deadline for you as well, just so that you can have that information accessible to you and make sure that you're meeting the deadline.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So this last section that I'm doing, I'm really excited about because I want this to be interactive, get to know you all a little bit more, and also tie in the message of why voting is so important and how it affects us specifically. And so with this, there's a QR code up here, and what you'll do is scan the QR code, and you'll just take this opportunity. It'll be like one of those things where it puts all of the words up on the screen, and essentially what you'll be doing is just typing in one thing or a topic that's of importance to you that you care about. It doesn't have to be specifically related to voting. It could just be something simply that you care about. So I said, for example, for me, it would be student debt, because we need, exactly. Clap it up if we want them loans forgiven. Okay. So that's an important issue, just for an example, but you could put down anything that affects you or that you want to see changed or a difference made. And I'll give a few moments for everyone to have an opportunity to put their topic up there on the screen. And then after that, we'll be able to see what everybody put.
Greetings. I'm a native Washingtonian. And those of you, I just want to say some cautionary things. I've been involved in voting longer than some of you have been born. I was back there when Eddie Williams formed the National Coalition on Black Voter Participation from the Joint Center for Political Studies, later turned into National Coalition on Civic Participation. I just want to follow up on some of you who may have registered here in the District of Columbia. And you want to register back home in Arkansas, Texas, Tennessee, Georgia. Wonderful. If you get a mail ballot, all the ballots, you will be registered in D.C. You change your registration, you may still get a D.C. ballot. Do not vote in D.C. if you are registered to vote. If you change your registration and vote somewhere else, don't think you can vote twice. You cannot do that. That will get you in, that's a felony. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. The other thing I want to caution you is if you have brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins in the military, remind them and let them know that they need to vote also. The laws protect and guide overseas ballots, particularly for those in the military. And they have deadlines coming up too, so don't forget them. And the final thing I want to say is this. I'm an old man. Some of you need to do something other than vote. You need to encourage us to vote. Okay? You need to tell mama, daddy, uncle, auntie, cousins, whomever, that they need to vote. Because some of us don't think we need to vote. And we need you to tell us, to remind us the importance of voting and the value of voting. Where's Pastor? That is correct, isn't it? You know, we've been involved in this for a long, long time. We're not new to this. But it's good to see you out here getting the information you need. But we need you to not only tell your friends on campus. I've talked to some of you on campus because I've been up there talking to students on Howard's campus to the importance of voting. We need you to tell your parents, your grandparents, and others in your family, not so much who to vote for, but they need to vote. Because some of them don't think they need to vote, won't vote. And we need everybody, as she said, we need everybody to vote this year. Don't let that chair or that couch at home cast your ballot.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And we have so much. Oh, sorry. You have a question? Mm-hmm.
My question was, what's like the best way, best place to get your information from? Because I know that you talked about like social media, and we have like the Shade Room, which is blocked for me, but all these other social media places, and Twitter, that's what we be on, TikTok. But I'm like, okay, where can we actually get this information or reliable information from? And yeah, that's really just my question, because I really want to encourage like family members, and as someone that's not like a poli-sci major, I go to Howard, but it's like, I'm getting the information, but it's still, I don't have as much education when it comes to the voting thing. And so I just wanted to know, what resources can I give family members or those that have questions to encourage them to vote?
Absolutely. And one, I commend you for taking the initiative when you don't have to encourage others and to be an advocate for passing on information. That's beautiful. I usually say that for me, I was involved in the NAACP chapter, so usually the information, we will be sent it out through like a mass email and things of that nature. So definitely, I'm pretty sure like the majority demographic is Howard students, if I'm correct, or possibly. Okay. Okay, perfect. But yes, just like, so the Howard local NAACP chapter, I'm sure they have a lot of resources. Vote.org is another resource that I advocate for all the time. It gives you state by state, and it really breaks down the deadlines, how to register to vote, how to check your voter registration status. It even shows you, like, when you're filling out each and every form, it says, like, this will only take 2 minutes. This will only take, like, 4 minutes. Just to remind someone when they're filling out these resources, like, it won't take you that long. wrong. And so I'm thinking of those two because those are like off the top of my head how I will always get information and resources, but there's always information that is usually passed around like from Board of Elections. It's just the information on the Board of Elections can be a little bit more complex because of the words or the terms that they use. So usually the information from your state or your specific jurisdiction's Board of Elections has all of the information there, and then usually an organization like the NAACP or another civil rights organization takes that information and breaks it down, or platforms like vote.org or Vote 411. They take all of that information and they make it in a way that's more clear and understandable for everyone so that our families and our friends, they'll be able to take that information without it like confusing them too much.
Let me just add also, in addition to what Jordan just shared, this event and an event that Nick is going to share a little bit about that's going to be taking place here Friday, Climate Revival, is a collaboration with an organization called the Hip Hop Caucus. Hip Hop Caucus has a website, respectmyvote.com. Respectmyvote.com. You visit that website, it's along the same lines of what it is that Jordan is describing. Information about dates, information about access, information about registration that you can utilize and certainly share that information with friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
Voter registration, or being informed as far as like news and how we're supposed to actually use our vote to be effective? Because I think a lot of people, we can advocate to tell our persons to vote, but sometimes, like at least for me, I can be very honest, I had to vote for absentee ballot for the primaries in Florida. I got my absentee ballot and I looked at all these people's names and I said, I don't know who I'm voting for. I really don't. So I had to be a student and be an academic and do the research. So it's open, and I guess it's like public access that you can look up your primary elections or your local elections and figure out who's on that ballot, so that when you go through those names, you're not just picking D and R because you want to affiliate to what your family affiliates to, but you're actually going through that person's professional history, what they've advocated for, what their interests are, and how that aligns to you. That's the best way that I can also encourage you to stay informed. AMA, African American Mayors Association, is here in DC. They have newsletters. There's a lot of Black resources that will allow you to be well informed when it comes to like politics and governance, if that's not your region or major. Here you go.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And that's the biggest thing with just not only registering to vote, but making sure that you're doing the research. So you're making sure that it's not just like you said, going up there and just checking off the boxes, but not knowing exactly what those boxes stand for. And that's why with platforms and with Black resources specifically, so that we're continuing to invest in our own communities, it's so crucial to obtain the resources from there, because there are a lot of civil rights organizations, a lot of Black resources and newsletters that are providing the links and the accessibility so that you can see sample ballots, so that the first time that you're seeing the ballot won't have to be on election day, and that you'll have the opportunity beforehand to know and then research and have time to educate yourself on what is actually on the ballot, who am I voting for, and making sure that they have policies or they have representation that reflect what I want to see in my community and in my hometown. So it's very important to do that aspect of making sure you know exactly what's on the ballot as well.
Big facts, big facts. It's raffle time. It's raffle time. Okay, and we are over the time. Want to acknowledge that. Our sincerest apologies for that. If you want to stay for the raffle and for the information, amen, and for the information, just please stay. Please give us 5 minutes. Is that cool? Can we get 5 minutes of your time? Okay, thank you. I'm going to do the raffle. All right, so this one starts with the number 2. 64411. Hey. Right here. Please raise your hand. Congratulations.
And before we wrap up, I just want to thank you all for the responses. There were so many amazing responses. And just to toss out just some reminders, again, like these are issues and topics that you're passionate about, and each of these things can make a difference on making sure that you go out and vote. So issues like how we reference student debt, education rights, lack of rent, like things like that. Mental action, or mental resources, inflation, healthcare, environmental, groceries, forgiveness, our educational forgiveness, affordability, women's affirmative control, or women's health care control. I believe that's what it says. And housing, gun control, health safety, all those topics and so many more that affect you personally and allow you the opportunity to have a say-so in your democracy. If you want to see topics like this get better and to see these topics come into fruition, you have to make the decision in voting. And yes, you have to, and yes, it takes some time with making sure that you're doing the research and the education, but it is so worth it, you all. And so again, I just wanted to remind you all that voting this year is on us. We carry the influence. We have the ability to make sure that we can get our friends, our family, and our peers around us encouraged about voting, but it starts with us. We won't see change happen until we take that step and do it. So again, thank you all so much for allowing me to speak with you all again, and I'll be happy to answer any questions after this.
Hey, can we give a round of applause to our amazing host? Was she not amazing? Can we give her a round of applause? She did her thing, right? Yeah. We thank you, Jordan. We honor you. We love you here, and we appreciate your investment in New Bethel. We have a video coming up, and then I have some ending and closing announcements for everybody, and then everybody is blessed and gets to go home. Amen? All right.
What's up, guys? My name is Howard Garrett. I am the National Committee Man for DC Young Dams, and also currently running for ANC Commissioner 2G01, where our church resides in our district. I could not miss this opportunity. Sorry, I could not be there in person. But I could not miss this opportunity to talk about the crossroads where we are with our history with this upcoming election. As you guys know, this is not just a normal election. This is about the future of our democracy and the rights that we hold dear to our hearts. As Gen Zers, you guys, it is time to make sure that your voices are heard like never before, because we've all seen what happens when we don't show up. Decisions are made without us. Our rights are stripped away, but most importantly, our communities suffer. But here's the thing. We do have the power to change that. This election is not just about who sits in office. It's about protecting the values that make us who we are. You're the generation that will take it to the streets to talk about climate justice, to talk about racial equality and equity, to talk about LGBTQ plus rights. You've shown the world that you would not back down. And it's now the time to keep that same energy and take it to the polls. Do not let anyone tell you that your vote and your voice does not matter, because it does. And when we vote together, we can reshape this country into one that reflects the values and the vision for our future. But voting is just the beginning. We have to organize. We have to mobilize. And sometimes, yes, that means run for office. The future is not going to wait for us. We have to grab it with both hands and imagine what we can do when we can achieve a future that we can control our destinies. So let's do this together. Let's get out the vote. Let's protect our rights, and let's build a future that we can be proud of. Democracy is on the line. Our human rights are on the line. But together we can make a story of this generation that reflects progress, justice, and unyielding hope. The time is now. Let's make history, and let's create our seat at the table. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and let's create a moment where we can be proud of.
Very powerful. That's a member of our church who serves in local government here in D.C., and he does a lot of impactful work, so very powerful message. It's raffle time. Y'all got your raffles out? All right.
Mix your hand in it real quick.
All right. The number 2. The number 6. The number 4. The number 4. The number 1. the number 4. Yeah. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good job, good job, good job, good job, good job. Okay, I got a few announcements and then we can close up shop. Jordan, in her presentation, talked about the NAACP. The gentleman who spoke right here, Brother Robert Branham, is the vice president of the DC chapter of the NAACP. And so if you have any, you can clap for that. If you have any questions, he also, Howard is underneath their chapter. And so if you have any questions, he has offered himself as a resource for us to talk to afterwards. If you have any questions about election and so forth. One of the very first commands God gave to humanity was that we should take care of the earth. Pastor mentioned while Pastor was standing over here that I was going to talk about a climate revival that is happening here on Friday. That's a beautiful thing because we have the responsibility as believers to be stewards over this world God has given us. Not only is it going to be an opportunity to live out that command, but also it's going to be a good time. We have a great, I don't know if I can say like who's coming, but there's going to be a great choir. Some people you may have seen in movies and stuff are going to be here singing. There's going to be a secretary of the EPA is going to be here. There's going to be a lot of great people if you want to network and mix and mingle, but we would love to see you here on Friday at 7 o'clock for a climate revival. We're going to worship God and talk about the ways in which we can take better care of our earth. And then I want to ask you, if you are between the ages of 8 and 35, please raise your hand. Okay. If you are registered, keep your hands up. If you are registered for the young adult ministry brunch, keep your hand up. 18? Did I say 8? Not if you're 8. If you're between the ages of 18 and 35, please raise your hand. All right. And if you are registered for the young adult ministry brunch, please keep your hand up. Okay, so look. Who likes brunch? You can say it I love brunch. Amen. I'm fasting from brunch right now. Amen. So if you like brunch, we have on next Sunday, downstairs, we're going to deck out the fellowship hall. The young adult ministry is hosting a brunch. And I have the gift of God to be trusted. I'm gifted by God to be trusted with this assignment to leading the young adult ministry. But the leaders for the young adult ministry who make everything happen are here. I don't really do much. Just be with them and they tell me what to do and whatnot. If you are a leader in the young adult ministry, can you raise your hand? If you're a leader in the young adult ministry, can you raise your hand? Yes, those are your young adult ministry leaders for the year. And they have for you the QR code so you can register for brunch that we are hosting downstairs after next. Oh, it's up there on the screen. So yeah, just use that. You can register for the brunch. Come eat some food on us. And then I have one more announcement, and that is that I would love to say thank you to Anna and Brian for their work on the AV team. Oh, Reverend Prather is up there. Yeah. Oh, Reagan's a minister.